So it was pretty safe to say that after the events of Captain America Civil War, all previous misconceptions and notions about the Marvel Cinematic Universe were pretty much burned to the ground, both figuratively and quite literally. So, where was the next logical place? Up. In space. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie was directed by James Gunn, and it stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, Dave Bautista, and on and on and on from there. This movie was released in 2014, the same year as Captain America the Winter Soldier, and it was pretty much the MCU that we needed at that moment, because Winter Soldier, like I said in my intro, pretty much destroyed everything that we thought we knew about the MCU. And so, Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty much the drink that cleansed the palate. The story goes that Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt, is looking for this object called the Orb. This orb is a little bit important to the safety of the galaxy, so he has to team up with a bunch of other assassins, including Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana, Groot and Rocket, played by Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper respectively, and Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista. When this movie was announced, everyone had a collective sense of, huh? Simply put, if you were a hardcore comic book nerd, then you had no idea who these characters were. I've read my fair share of comic books in the past, but I had never heard of these guys. But when this movie came out, everybody loved it. Everybody saw it. Everyone was saying, I am Groot. It was pretty safe to say that Groot-a-mania was running wild. I loved the movie too, but in terms of the movie itself, I point to Guardians of the Galaxy as an example of the MCU can A, almost do no wrong, and B, can turn any one of these comic book characters and turn them into badasses. But really what makes this movie work is the continuity and the chemistry between the Guardians themselves. Starting with my favorite of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt. I had not seen Parks and Recreation, I had not seen anything that he had done before this movie, and I immediately fell in love. This guy is so funny, he's so charismatic, and he can kick butt when he needs to as well. So, yeah, there's that. Also, he has a pretty damn good taste in music, so that gets bonus points for me. Star-Lord in this movie is like if you took the courage and wit of a Han Solo, hey Solo, and you combine that with the womanizing charm of, say, a Captain Kirk. Not a William Shatner Captain Kirk, but a Chris Pine Captain Kirk. I also love how he takes everything in stride in terms of seeing these aliens and so on and so forth. You can attribute that to he's lived pretty much his entire formative years in space, so he's used to it by now. But, you know, when he's describing all these injuries to Drax of how this one alien girl stabbed him right in the neck area with a fork, I just found that hysterical because, you know, being stabbed by an alien to us would be nuts. But to Star-Lord, that's nuts that would sound nuts. In terms of the rest of the Guardians, they're pretty cool as well. I really liked Gamora. I would really fall in love with her as the movies would go on. In terms of this first movie, she was kind of a little light in the character department, but she would get better as the films would go on. I also really loved Drax. He was my second favorite character in this movie. Not just because he's played by Dave Bautista and I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a little bit of a wrestling fan. But he is also really funny in this movie. He's basically this big jacked dude with these tattoos all over his head and his body. Not like in real life. But he doesn't understand metaphor. So he doesn't understand sarcasm or any of the sort. So when a joke is lobbied at him, it just flies straight over his head. And it is just so funny. There's a scene when they're breaking out of the kiln, this space prison, and Quill is like, hey, what's up with the walking thesaurus over here? And Drac is like, don't you call me a thesaurus. I will admit, I did laugh when I heard that. Now let's talk about Groot and Rocket. I love Groot as much as the next person. You know, it's Vin Diesel voice acting, so immediately I thought of Superman. You get bonus points in the comment section if you get the film reference. It's the Iron Giant. But in terms of Rocket, I was a little bit conflicted. Now, in the next movie, I would have a much stronger opinion. But in this movie, he just came off as a bit of a jerk. Now, granted, this is his character, and he does have his fair share of funny moments throughout the movie. However, in terms of his character, I just felt like he became a little bit grating at times, but he didn't get too grating. I still liked him, but not as much as the rest of the Guardians. Now let's talk about Ronan the Accuser. God, this guy's boring. I mean, I gave a lot of crap to Malekith in Thor 2, and yes, he is by far the worst MCU villain, but this guy is a close second. I mean, you talk about... Ugh. At least Ronan the Accuser has a motivation and a reason as to why he's doing the things that he's doing. Malekith is out there finding this space blob because he wants to plunge everything into darkness. Okay. But at least Ronan, you know, his family has felt betrayed by the Xandarians. I must find the stone for Thanos. Then he will destroy Xandar for me. Yeah, congratulations, guy. Now, can you please be, I don't know, interesting? I honestly thought the villain of the movie should be Nebula, played by Karen Gillian. Or, I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Because she and Gamora's relationship is very complicated and very nuanced. And I enjoyed that in the second movie. And in this movie, she honestly should have been the villain. She should have been sent by Thanos to go destroy Xandar and find the stone. But instead, we've got deep voice McUninteresting over here, and he's just not interesting. However, that's just a minor flaw. I thought that Guardians of the Galaxy upon rewatch was just as fun as when I first saw the movie. I love this movie to pieces, and yes, it is getting an amazing. Call me a Marvel fanboy all you want. I just don't care. I love me a good movie, and this is a good movie. This is just a really fun space opera type movie. It's got great jokes. It's got some drama. It's got great camaraderie between the Guardians. There's this scene where they're all standing in a circle, and Rocket's like, look at us. A bunch of jackasses standing in a circle. If they just would have gotten a better villain, I would have thought this was a perfect movie, but hey, you can't always get what you want. And that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for my reviews of Avengers Age of Ultron and Ant-Man coming up shortly. And I will also be reviewing the newer releases that are coming out this weekend, which will be Life of the Party and Breaking In. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and do also subscribe so that you never miss a new video. And also click the bell so that you can allow notifications. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, the links to all of my social media will be in the description below. My name is Ryan Cam, and I am Groot.